state, Commonwealth, and of our nation. Hello again, everybody. So after sort of stepping back from the situation after what we were watching on Capitol Hill today, which obviously, people that know better are going to stay away from playing the blame game. It's not really about that. I have every faith in people that are like-minded to me that just really want our voice heard. And so I thought maybe I'd write a letter to my representative, Jimmy Gomez. There's no point in writing to my senator. I'm totally against her election. So, and I don't know, Feinstein looks like she's really just ready to, to kind of fall over and like pass out, not like in a dead way, but maybe she's like tired and doesn't have the energy. So there's no point either way. So I wrote to I'm going to read just to see if there's any feedback or if it gives anybody any ideas, and then just keeps people focused and on track to the future. so let's do it. Let's put this on mute. Okay. So, dear Representative Gomez of the California 34th District, it was an emotionally loaded day on Capitol Hill today, and my heart goes out to all those hurt. Unfortunately, those few bad apples out there have meant that rightful and peaceful protesters get treated the same way as the looting thugs that took over our streets this summer as the record-breaking group tantrum of all times. I suspect that a lot of it, along with the COVID-19 pandemic, was intended to keep voters distracted from the upcoming election heist that the Democrats were plotting all the while. You see, I'm a proud Mexican-American lady that was taught boundaries and a merit-based lifestyle. I know when people don't think that way, and I call them out on it. Don't worry, I'm too smart to be petty, and I would like to establish a dialogue about the 2020 general election fraud with my voice in Washington. With my voice in Washington, meaning as though Jimmy is my voice in Washington. Would you please share your thoughts with me on your position on this matter? I'm trying to stay better informed with regards to politics and would like a well-rounded set of facts and or opinions. In case you're wondering, my thoughts are that today's presence in Capitol Hill were necessary, as it seems to be the only resort to having one's voice heard. Do you have a channel of communication that you would rather recommend? If you say the vote is the voice, can you tell me if there's any way to keep a well-documented historical record of your voting selections? Don't worry, don't you agree that this tool could help save the embarrassment of future fraudulent elections that, if they happened once and go unpunished, are likely to happen again? My main causes are to instill empowerment in the next generation through an open door policy, uncensored opinions, and education by modeling those values through my own behavior. I like to consider myself a Reagan baby, and the values I attained during my formative years are those that have made me the independent, strong, and goal-oriented individual. There's no feeling like that of being self-accomplished. But you can't expect for youth to cultivate these values if they are crippled with peer social assistance and no growth opportunities. Next elections, I want to make sure that I don't vote for a do-nothing Democrat whom don't even bother to hide their two-faced cynicism, and that expect the rest of us little people to just shrug our shoulders in despair. Can I count on you, Jimmy? If so, please share your thoughts with me on repairing the voting process and holding elected officials to a better response towards their constituents. It's not like people want to go to Capitol Hill the last minute when they come to a realization that their voice has been hijacked. Oh, and police are my friends. I'd rather that they carry the gun instead of me. To that end, I do my best to be a law-abiding, conflict-free citizen. I get to demand that government administrators treat me with the same respect. Treating people like their voice doesn't matter is abusive and creates the kind of obscurity in positions of power that allow for sweetheart deals that benefit a few at the top to the detriment of the rest of us little people. these kind of people don't belong in public service. Lastly, can you please tell me how to get a crosswalk on Broadway just south of Cesar Chavez? You don't know how many people jaywalk across on the Paseo. Kindest regards, Monique. So hopefully this, keeps, like things into perspective. I've been watching too many Democrats, just use sorry excuses for why they're not going to be interested in looking into potential fraud in this election when it's blatantly obvious to like the normal person. And yes, a lot of people in my position are just going to be passive about it, and they're going to feel powerless, and they're going to feel like they can just leave it in other people's hands. But obviously they're not watching this. They can't leave it in other people's hands because there's people that don't want to do anything about it. It's just not true that Joseph Biden, whom was in the Senate for 47 years, ran for president twice and lost, is miraculously now that we have had actually a very popular president in a long time, a great continuation, I think, of the previous administration, is miraculously the most popular president in history. It's offensive. It's offensive that anybody who isn't challenging that actually expects the rest of everybody to believe that it's the truth. It's just not. It can't be. Not like it can't be like when Trump was president, it couldn't be, because he was actually getting things. He was actually interested in getting things done. He rolled up his sleeve and went right in there. So, don't twist your like the administrations around. It's annoying. It's like, but anyhow, I'm gonna do it this way. I'm gonna fight with my pen and and try and be as rational about it as possible, because the truth is going to come out, and it's not going to come out if the Democrats keep using people to create chaos and just create more distractions to get to the bottom of where everything went wrong, and why there's lies, there's cover-ups. A lot of people in the House are basically just scratching each other's back. Like they scratch, like maybe sometime down the line they're going to need a favor, and they're going to need to get people on their side. So it's they're not necessarily being mature, serious people about the gravity of the situation. You can't have a leading power, a country that's a leading power, have this, because this is going to put us. I mean, this is a perfect opportunity to actually show the rest of the world that we are a true leader of the world, that we are a first class, first world type of a country that holds one another accountable without fear, without animosity, but only is going to care to have the people representing the rest of the population that are actually have a conscience. For one, I mean, you have to have a conscience, and that aren't there trying to get rich, and not really be a wholehearted and humble public servant. Because while these people that are being the cynics, the two-faced cynics that really just gave up on people and only care about passing the same sets of laws every year, change the rate. They don't really do much. Let's be honest. I mean, it's not that complicated once you've been there for 47 years. It's the same thing over and over. They just, if it gets boring, they'll like plot some stage, some other controversy just to keep them interesting to the rest of us, like make them look like they actually have issues to work out. So yeah, have a conscience. Don't let these people be your permanent voice. Study these people, question them, be an innocent. You know, you don't have to be like a genius or like this, you know, put up like some kind of like a front. Just consider yourself worthy and good enough to innocently express to your representative what your concerns are and what you want to know and where you can find it, and then hold them to it. And because you know what, it feels better to pray for your leaders, you know, to like be thankful, like, wow, I have a really great leader. It feels better to be that, you know, that person than to be the person that is just like not like getting that response. So it would be nice to have somebody that I can actually think to myself like, okay, these people are hard workers and they deserve it. It's better. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a you know, like a violent, aggressive person. I'm a opinionated person, and that should be fine, because you know what, the standards that I hold others to, I hold myself to as well, at least to that much. I don't ask for a lot, um, but when something like this happens, we should all be able to say something about it. So hopefully, if there's a lot of other groups out there, there's a lot of resources. I was watching Victory News today, which was new to me, which I was enjoying very much, because they, you know, kept it very wholesome, and um, it was just very more about staying like a decent human being, you know, like, which most you know, like Christian people that believe in the afterlife and are not the godless, you know, stifled and trifled looters are going to be. So that was refreshing. I would suggest that, um, and then also, um, you know, check out your local. I forget the names, but do some research online. I think it was like Young Republicans, something to that. If you, I'm sure that if you Google Young Republicans groups, you know, get involved in these groups, that you'll find the kind of people that are conservative and that do care about. You know, most of us that are conservative have our own private lives. We are trying to be the like hardworking overachievers that are just like the average everyday people. Um, I'm thinking maybe that comes across as intimidating sometimes, because I think that for Democrats it's more about like being like besties, and then just like pressuring one another to get, like, you know, developing this codependency. So this is more when you're like a big difference between a Democrat and a Republican is that like a Democrat is more clingy, like they're more like they like that dependency, they want this power trip. And a Republican is more, no, we're the go-getters, we're like the, you know, local friendly wholesome people that are trying to just empower other people to develop their own skills and do as much or as little as they want, and compete for it, because that's important. And especially when you look at the international spectrum. So that, again, those are my thoughts. If anybody happens to come across, leave your comments, and let me know what you're doing to get through this, and as um, healthy and productive a way as possible. Let's not forget that there will be another general election in 4 years, and in the meantime, you know what? You don't really need a president like Joe Biden. It's gonna be like, he's gonna be like in his basement. You won't even know he's there. You won't even know he's your president, unless, of course, which is probably likely, he'll like wind us up in a war, and then you'll really know about it. But then we'll be distracted or off fighting, and it could be a mess. Either way, let's let's get through it. Let's just get through it with whichever way it works out, and stay rational, focused, and positive. But be able, you know, don't feel censored, and don't feel pressured, and don't feel like giving up. It's not the end of the world at the end of the day. So hopefully this helped.